This is a call to order of the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Education of Mount Healthy City Schools, June 28th, 2021. This meeting is of the Board of this is a meeting of the Board of Education in public and is not to be considered a public meeting. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Here.
Mrs. Ellis?
Present.
Mr. Glenn?
Oh,
He's
Oh,
not.
okay.
he will not be joining us this evening.
Mr. Kilgore?
Here.
And Dr. Turner?
I'm here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members have had the opportunity to see the agenda for tonight's meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Item 5 on the agenda, reading and signing of the minutes. The minutes of the regular meeting held on May 17th, 2021 were also given to the board members ahead of time. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Item 6, special orders. Mount Healthy Teachers Association.
No input.
Item 6B, communications announcements, public input.
No.
Item 6C, presentations, school wellness policy.
Okay, I'm Madison.
Could you use one of the microphones, please? I don't know if that one's turned on yet.
I think.
Hit the mute button and just hold it.
So the little green light goes on.
Hello.
No.
The green light's on.
Press it real hard.
Yes.
The light's
Is it
on,
good?
she said.
Okay.
Oh.
You just need to get closer to it.
Okay. Okay. My name is Madison, and I'm a member of the Wellness Committee. So I am presenting our assessment of our school wellness policy. So this has to happen every 3 years. So we chose to do the School Health Index, or the SHE. The SHE covers several different topics over 11 modules. So the topics include nutrition, physical education, chronic health conditions, safety, alcohol and other drugs, tobacco use, and sexual health. So over the 11 modules, we reached out to staff members who we thought would be most knowledgeable in all of these areas, and they completed the modules. The modules are basically questions on how often we do something or how different components that are completed consistently. So overall, the highest we scored in was Module 2, Health Education, and Module 9, Employee Wellness and Health Promotion. The lowest was Community Involvement, but over the past year, we completed this last spring. So ever since then, feel like we have improved in that module. And just so we are meeting all of the standards for nutrition and food service, so this isn't just food service directed. It's just for the wellness of the district as a whole. So, like I mentioned, since we have improved over the community involvement since we did complete this, for example, like we got the No Kid Hungry grant, we were doing a lot of events with the pantry and reaching out to the community in that way. And then we're also working on the parent engagement area that's going to be here as well. So I feel like we have improved since then, so we feel when we do complete this again in the next 3 years that we'll have much better scores in all of those components. Yeah. Any questions? Great.
That was the answer she wanted.
Thank you, Madison. We also have a presentation on the Early Learning Center.
And Charlie's agreed to be with us tonight just to give an update
of the Early Learning Center and to show some of the amazing work that's going on that we are anxiously awaiting the completion of.
All right. And I can see it warming up. Fancy. All right. Well, thank you guys. This is kind of a midstream construction update for the Early Learning Center. And I will provide the information as soon as Mike will be out. All right, this will work. Here we go. So there's where we're headed. That's the final product. This rendering we provided to the district about a year ago. So some milestone dates, just to go back to the beginning, we were hired March 9th. The contract was signed on April 30th. So we did a lot of our work last year. Those dates make some of us shiver just because of the time period and what was going on in the world. In the documents that we produced out for bid, we had an original substantial completion date of August 6, 2021. That was an aggressive date. We knew it would be tough to hit, but we put it out there as a challenge, and we got a lot of good bids of companies. We opened bids up on September 1st. You guys approved the contract September 2nd, and then we issued a notice to proceed September 3rd. So we weren't messing around when it came to approvals and getting things moving. There have been two change orders that have been presented to the board for extended time periods. One was change order number 7. This was either rainy weather, extremely cold weather, or snow from September 14th to January 14th. And the change order requested 16 more working days. This is allowable by contract. It was approved by the board in January, and that extended the dates out by 16 working days. The construction company continued to track things. It did get cold in February. It was fairly cold into March, and they continued to track things. And then there was another change order from January 15th to March 3rd, which they requested an additional 15 working days, and that was also approved by the board in March. There's still one day pending that's still out there since they've been tracking all these. It was a really heavy weather day. I guess they haven't asked for a change yet, but when we reviewed this with our partners at Spalding, they just reminded us those. So right now our revised completion date is September 22nd. So we went out with August 6th, but because of the wet and cold, things kind of out of our control, Mother Nature, it's been pushed to September 22nd. What that means is that's the day where it is usable by the district. You can go in there with staff, you can go in there with teachers, you can go there with students. We probably will get a temporary certificate of occupancy prior to that, where building officials allow administrators to come in, technology folks to come in, and some of the administrative things that can be set up earlier on. The other thing to note is final completion. That's December 15th. That also has been pushed out the 31 days. And that is really punch list work. Final seating might not even happen until after September, maybe October 1, they might seat it. So there's some final work, but for the most part, the building is safe. It's efficient to teach in, and it's functional as far as it's operating. And the biggest thing is just safety. All the systems are up and running. One thing I have on here is that the original change order budget we budgeted 5%, and I did not get the exact number. I will follow up with Dr. Hawkins on the exact percentage of where we are, but we are below the 5% threshold. So that was one thing I did not get in there. So the construction schedule, as provided by Spalding, they are the ones managing it, keeping it. You can see there the red bar is today, 6/28/21, and a lot of the final kind of components are happening. Finish work, ceiling tiles are going in, flooring is going in, paint is we're starting to have color. You can see some of the other bathroom finishes, toilets are getting set. A lot of those final things where it's starting to look like a building. Construction jobs are usually dirty and dusty in the beginning. and then they become gray because there's a lot of just the raw materials, but now we're starting to take on color. And so you can see the personality that the building will have. And so this really shows a diagram from now until getting kind of that substantial completion, which is early September, with their targeting. And then this bar here really shows final completion. A lot of the closeout paperwork, things that you guys need as you continue to operate in this building for years to come. Just a reminder of the way the building's set up. There's an area A here, which is the administrative area. There is the kitchen. It's the main front door. We have 2 learning pods, a B and a C. They're exactly mirrored. We did that for efficiency's sake, where you guys can move kids around if enrollment ebbs and flows. And then the other thing that we did do is we have a footprint, and we're kind of leaving things out of that way if we want to continue to find success and add on to this building. So here's some photos. This is the current shot of the entry. So the building form is for the most part there. You can see the shape of it. You can see the way the roof's going to be shaped. The majority of the roofing is on. This is a rendering of one of the breakout areas around the classrooms. You can see the little kitchen and a small stage for performances. But if I switch to the actual photo, you can see some of that work is going into place. So I'll go back and forth. Where doors are being hung, windows are in, the skylight is in, it's dry, and so that's really what you see here when you look at back and forth. So we're at the point where you can see the ceiling grid is in, we're getting final inspections above there, and we'll start, the term we use is padding it out, where we start to put in the ceiling tiles. The lights will go in, and it will take on the final appearance. This is another shot here, just showing the skylights. Again, it's been a very clean job. It's been quality work. We have had very few issues with craftsmanship, and so we're really proud and happy with where it is today. This is a 3D image of a classroom. One of the things we've done is we've put very low windows because we know our users are very 4 and 5-year-olds. They really, some of them can't see over sills, so we've got the opportunity to see low. This is kind of that same classroom here where the windows are in. You can again see the ceiling grid is in, which means a lot of the work, the insulation work, is all done up above. The wiring up in the ceiling is done. So this is kind of a back and forth. So from here, we really are starting to, drywall's finished out, put on final coats of paint, final flooring, and pad it out, and it's ready for furniture. This is another little alcove. There will be a drinking fountain. We're probably going to switch this to be the bottle filler, because we know right now drinking fountains are seen in a bad light as far as germs, and so we'll switch that. But we have all the proper plumbing and electric there to accommodate those needs. Here are some aerial images. This is from a drone. Again, you can see down low a lot of the brick on the B and C wings are in. Last week they did start the siding, so it's starting to take on the siding. It's a cement board siding. And then the area A, which is the front, is kind of the furthest away. So they've started in the back and they're moving towards the road.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you access all these buildings without ever going outside?
Yes. Can you access all the buildings from you come in the front door? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you are in the front door, you walk down the hall and you can come in here and you're in this wing here, or from down the hallway you're in here. So it is one contiguous building. There's no broken spaces.
I do have a question also. I noticed the windows are down low. That safety glass, in case there's a fire, can we get out if the kids need to get out by breaking it?
Yes, there's 2 types of glazing there.
Yeah, that one.
So this is an operable one. In the case of emergency, if you needed to leave, that is an option. Sometimes we put sets on them because they only go in a certain way for security purposes. There are exterior doors that go into some of the little areas here. So there's exterior doors here. There's exterior doors right there. There's exterior doors right here. These blue zones. So there's ample amount of ability to egress the building in a safe way. Yeah. The other thing is that if windows are down that low, they have to be tempered. So if there is a kid who has behavioral issues and wants to throw a chair, it is tempered glass, and it's not going to just shatter and be shards of glass. It'll be, it's more like a windshield in our cars. Yeah. This is moving around kind of the sideway. You can see we've got bollards here for dumpsters and deliveries that are going to occur here for the kitchen. You can see the air handling units are on the rooftop. That was an efficient way to provide air and not have to build in closed spaces for future, maintaining it. It's easy, very accessible. And again, I mentioned the roof is on. It's keeping the building dry, and things are going well with that respect. This is around the backside. You can kind of see, looking towards the job trailer, the bus drop-off has been partially put in. That's used for contractor parking. So a part of all this other work, they're utilizing the warm weather and hopefully drier weather where we can finish the site work and sidewalks and get all that wrapped up. Sidewalks are needed for fire purposes. So in order to get the temporary certificate of occupancy, we need to be able to have firefighters come in or people egress the building in a safe manner. This is a quick video. So it's about 5 minutes. We'll run through here real quick. This is with a 360-degree camera. It's generating here. It should get clear in a second.
So I noticed the roof on that one is slanted. Are all the roofs slanted?
All roofs are sloped, minimum 1/4 inch per foot. So that's building code. And I know when I was working here at Mount Healthy in the past, I know about all the old buildings that were flat.
Yeah, Mr. Wilson
Yep.
always complained about
Yep.
flat roofs.
I've had business managers at Mount Healthy for years look at me and make sure I go like this with roofs. So all these roofs are draining right now. 1/4 inch per foot is the minimum slope.
Okay.
We have that currently at the high school, and at North and South has that same slope on roofs that you don't see. They look flat, but they are sloped. I can't get a building permit with a flat roof.
Oh, good.
So this is going into the office. Again, you can see a lot of this is the least amount of work, but from now, a lot of metal studs. They're coming out of the building in this manner. We've also been very fortunate to not have any material delays. We have yet to have oh shoot, this is, because of supply chain, this is late. I have another job this summer right now that can't get their flooring for a high school. So they're going to Plan B. We haven't faced that. We bid this at the right time. You guys got great prices, and we have not really been affected by the market in that respect.
Yeah, I know the wood is really a high
Yep,
price. Right
yep. We were able to avoid any of those, premium costs on wood. Because again, the time for when we bid that would increase kind of happened winter time. So again, you can see drywall, you can see finish paint on the door frames, ceiling grids. You can see my employee's hard hat right here. This camera is so cool. You can look up with it. We can look down. This is here's an exterior door there. Again, some of the finished paint. So for some of these darker colors, they do multiple coats of paint. So they're being applied now, and they know that as they move tools and equipment and things out, they're going to get scuffed up. They have it in their bid to touch it up and make sure that it's sufficient. This is this little kind of nest area, is what we call, so kids can, a lot of children live in one-story apartments, ground floor living, and they can, younger age kids can learn how to do stairs. This is another one of these flexible areas here. Having all the windows in now, my team is really happy with the daylight. It's very bright. That's, for energy bills, that's a great thing for you guys, but also just natural light tied to learning, and it makes for a really positive environment. This is entering to a classroom. Again, these classrooms are shaped to be different. They're shaped because this is these children's first opportunity to learn, sometimes beyond the home. And so they're not shaped like a traditional classroom that we're all used to, a box with 5 rows of chairs and five columns. So these are areas where kids can explore, a lot of self-guided learning. We're going outside now. You can see the brick. You can hear cicadas. So these are furring strips here where the cement board is going to go on, and I believe that started last week.
this all dirt we've seen, that's gonna be some grass there also?
Yep, all the topsoil, we took the topsoil off, we've saved it, and they will respread the topsoil
Okay.
and reseed. So as I mentioned, that might not happen until later September, October, just because of the time periods. We don't want to seed on Labor Day.
Right.
It'll just get fried. And this is going back into one of these extended learning areas. Got about another minute. So in this zone here, you can see there is no ceiling grid. It's probably coming in this week. You can see some of the exposed insulation. You didn't see it in the first area. The crew is incredibly positive out there. We've got folks working on Saturdays. And so overall, we're happy with where it stands and looking forward to kind of the final stretch here. Our big involvement will be punching it out. So on the district's behalf, we will provide a punch list. We'll do it private with Mr. Beckmeyer. He'll do it concurrently with us. It's where we get real picky. We'll take plenty of rolls of blue painter's tape and find nicks and scratches and dents and call those out to be repaired before you guys really move in, because it becomes a finger pointing thing. It happens after you guys take occupancy. So with that, it's kind of a summary. Oops.
I got a
Questions?
question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that hole that's up near Adams, next to that first house on Adams, next to the building? They keep digging. First it was dug up, filled in, now it was dug up again.
Is it as far as?
It's that Adams Road, right
Yeah,
there?
this is Adams right here. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
There is this basin right here is a stormwater detention basin.
Oh, okay.
And so that's required right now where we live. When it rains, obviously stormwater in a little bit of an older housing stock zone where we are in Mount Healthy, it's where I live down the road. We can't handle the stormwater. So per MSD, you need to contain it here on site. When we built South and North Elementary, there was other ways of kind of containing it.
Mm-hmm.
The requirements have amped up big time.
Yeah,
Because MSD doesn't want to enlarge their sewer system.
I know.
So basically, this is a bathtub that will fill up when it rains, and then within 24 hours, it will drain down.
Yeah, well, I had seen that they dug it up, then it looked like they covered it up, and then they dug it up again.
Yeah. I don't know the specifics of why they were doing that. Sometimes we have to seed it. because
Well,
they
I
don't- they
go
don't want-
down that street all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So anytime y'all leave the gate open, I call.
you're going there. Okay.
That
Well-
building in the lower right corner,
Yes, right here.
that dark spot.
Yep.
What is that? Water?
Good eyes. Yep, that's a great eyes. That's sediment from the amount of dust that's being stirred up from all this dirt. It probably rained. There's a roof drain here. There's a roof drain here. This is the primary roof drain. About 4 feet away is a secondary. It's sloped up. So what happened is the amount of dust that's out here probably mixed within the standing water that stood there. So we'll work to make sure that it's meeting the roof manufacturer's requirements of exiting.
Yeah.
It's probably since dried. So it's sediment that was in the air, got in the water, and it dried there.
So I'm thinking, if that happens now,
Yeah,
in the future, that may happen
correct.
again.
Correct. And we need to make sure that it satisfies the roof manufacturer's requirements. Their roofs are allowed to hold water for a certain time period.
Okay.
And so we'll double check it. Mr. Beckmeyer also called that one out when we reviewed it with him. But other than that, I mean, you can see this is a pristine, brand new, clean
Yeah,
roof.
That's what drew
Yeah,
my attention.
yep, yeah, it stands
All
out.
the other roof except for that one.
Yep, good eyes.
Is that facing Adams?
This is Adams down here. So this.
Yeah,
yep,
okay.
Yep, that's Adams right
I
there.
wanted to make sure that
Yep.
that's what I was looking at.
Yep. So, I've been through a lot. This was the old Hoop Elementary, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Rexroth,
No.
sorry, Rexroth, yeah,
Rexroth.
Rexroth, yeah. I've been in that building, I was in that building years ago, and to see what it is today, it's really transformed. So, it's a great opportunity, and you guys are really stepping up, offering this to your community. There's a lot of other communities right now having the same conversations with us about doing it next year or the following year.
Okay, now I did know that UC had a building like this, actually it was Army Field House. And they wanted to move in earlier, so they accept the building as is, I guess. And then any future repairs fell back on UC, and there was a lot of repairs.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, so my question is, since we're allowed to use the building as building goes on,
Sure.
built, are we going to be responsible for any?
Well, the difference is a temporary CFO allows your IT folks to come in and program things. It allows your kitchen staff to come in and maybe set up equipment. It allows the administration, and maybe the maximum teachers. But a temporary CFO will not allow kids to come
Okay,
in.
okay,
No,
that
no.
was my main concern. If
Yeah.
we went ahead and start moving the kids and the building's not ready,
No.
so we, okay.
You want to wait till it's done. It's it's like baking a cake. You can pull it out,
Yeah.
with 5 minutes left in the oven. It might taste good, but maybe it hurts your stomach because you're eating some raw eggs or whatever. We want to get this to the finish line. We want to make sure it's done. You guys are going to use this for years to come. We want to do it right. And I know it's not ideal. I know you guys have the contingency plan to shift kids for the interim from when you start school to when this is done.
Yeah.
But we were challenged with meeting this schedule. We said, hey, this is going to be hard to meet, but let's put it out there. We got the contractors to sign up. We've had some cold days. I'm building the same size building at another district here in Southwest Ohio, and they started construction March of 2020. This started basically September 2020. It's ending the same time period.
Yeah, I mean, looks like you guys are doing a good job.
Yeah.
Just my main concern, if we move in our IT guys and
Yeah.
administrators, in my opinion, that is really not, you're turning over the building to us. You
Yes.
still have control of it.
Yeah. And then final CFO satisfies all requirements. Fire alarms work, all communication works if there's any emergencies. Sidewalks are all in. Fire trucks can pull in and do their thing. Paramedics can come in and do their
Okay.
thing. That's really what it's driven by. Anything else?
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank you
Charlie.
guys. Appreciate it.
And as Charlie mentioned, we have made accommodations that students will be in the buildings. So we use some of our ESSER grant money to lower class sizes. So you're basically going to have classes with 2 teachers with up to 30 students. Once the Early Learning Center opens, they'll move out, and then they'll have the smaller class with just 1 teacher. So we have made those accommodations. We'll be in about a month before they're able to get into the Early Learning Center. And we looked at different options as far as renting space and looked at a lot of different things. And the principals and the staff felt like this was the best option for our students. So we're really excited with SHP and what Charlie has shared with us. And I think what he said, we just have to highlight again how smart the board was to make the decision to move on this project when you did, because since then, everything has exploded with pricing, and we were able to get some fantastic additions, and we added some things because you were bidding at a time where people were looking for work.
We bid at the prime time from about September until about January. It was the perfect time to bid. February, we saw things ticking up, and they haven't stopped. So it's my second round with Matt Healthy of hitting the bullseye for bidding period. We did it at the high school.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, so you ought to be very commended for that,
Yep.
and the students will be
Yep.
the beneficiaries of that. Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
that update.
Okay, item 7, Great Oaks Board Report. Mrs. Ellis.
Oh, I ain't gonna read this to y'all because this is all these 2 gentlemen we have over there, their goals. Our treasurers, Ben Van Horn and President Harry Snyder reviewed the strategies and goals that were given to the board at the start of the 2021 school year and discuss and the actions taken through the year. For the treasurer, strategy 1 was to provide leadership through financial stewardship. The forecast is complete. Great Oaks has received awards of excellence from ASBO, the Ohio Auditor, and now GFOA, and $38 million in bonds to finance the Live Oaks project were sold in February. And strategy 2 was to improve operational efficiency and utilization of resources. They have new accounts payable, receivable software that has been implemented and is being rolled out to users throughout the district. The business office staff continues to streamline processes. And strategy 3, provide effective communication to the stakeholders of the Great Oaks career campuses. Communication continues as stakeholders are piloting the new software. And the president, his strategy 1 was encourage collaboration, adaptation, and flexibility for COVID-19 this school year. And strategy 2 was to foster a culture that promotes connectivity among individuals and the organization. And strategy 3 was to continue facilities update to support innovation and future workforce demands. And that's all. Well, all their construction, they having to redo all these buildings, because I guess when they got those buildings, they took them as is and improved them, and then they haven't worked too well, especially the one, I think that's Live Oak. Is that the one in Wilmington? Laurel, okay. That one, they had to completely redo, because that was an old Army base?
It was an old
Or
Army
Air
base.
Force, one of them.
Army base.
It was an old Army base, and they just took it, did a little improvement, but then they had things started going to pot, so they had to redo that one. But they put out bonds out there, and they got them sold,
That's great.
so they were able to get it done. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next, we have the legislative report. House Bill 82 looks like it will be fully passed and ready for the governor's signature soon. This bill would create an option for 11th grade students to opt out of taking the ACT and/or SAT tests. House Bill 105 adds the requirement that in grades kindergarten through 6, annual age-appropriate instruction in child abuse prevention, including information on available counseling and resources for children who are sexually abused. It has passed in the House and has been referred to committee in the Senate. Senate Bill 181 has passed, oh shoot, something's wrong here. Okay, I have my numbers mixed up here. I'm not sure what's right and what's not, so ignore the number of that one. But something is being considered by the House Primary and Secondary Education Committee. This bill would establish restrictions on policies that prevent students from wearing religious apparel when competing or participating in interscholastic athletics or extracurricular activities. It would permit certain officials to limit the wearing of religious apparel if a legitimate danger to participants is identified, but also requires an administrator or official to offer all reasonable accommodations, and it would provide civil immunity regarding such policies for schools and school districts, among others.
Did they say anything about black people's hair?
Not in that one, no.
I just wonder.
Are you talking about the beads in the hair?
Not necessarily the beads, just the fact that some of them are just letting it grow natural. They're not doing anything to
I
it.
think right now the state leaves that up to each individual school district, and Mount Healthy doesn't have any kind of limits. Okay, item 9 on the agenda is the report of the treasurer, Ms. Brooks.
Thank you, Dr. Turner. 9A is a recommendation to accept the scheduled bills for May 2021.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 9B is a recommendation to accept the May 2021 financial statement.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 9C is a recommendation to amend and approve the 2021 appropriations within the amended and approved Certificate of Estimated Resources. It's a mouthful.
So moved.
I'll second.
These reports, as I know you all know, but they're done every year at this time. They're required by law, and it's a matter of just pulling the information from our records, putting it into the reports, and then sending it off to the county auditor.
It's like a summary?
Yes.
Okay.
Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 9B is a recommendation to adopt temporary appropriations for FY22 equal to 100% of fund expenditures from FY21 effective July 1st, 21, and this excludes state and federal programs.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yeah, you want to kind of explain that? Because I'm kind of lost.
You know, we have to adopt appropriations before we can spend anything. So we adopt them now for next year so that we can hit the road running July 1st, cover payrolls and such. And we base it on what we spent in 2021 because we know we're going to get a few months into it, and then we'll have our permanent appropriations based on what we know our numbers are going to be for the year. So this is just to get us able to spend money immediately July 1 and cover payrolls.
So you're talking just for payrolls, what about contracts?
It covers us for contracts too,
Okay.
but it's just, it used to be a lot different years and years ago, so we started doing a temporary appropriation the month before we start because we don't have a meeting in July until third Monday in the month. So we have to be able to process payroll, and actually our payroll this month is, first pay in July is July 2nd. So we have to have those appropriations in place prior to making those expenditures. I know it's a lot of,
So in other words, you're just moving funds to a temporary thing,
yes,
so when and if you need it, you got it?
yes, right,
Okay.
okay? That was a lot of explanation for that, wasn't it?
But that's all right.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 9E is a recommendation to authorize the treasurer to make any advances or transfer of funds as may be required to close out fiscal year 21.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 9F is a recommendation to authorize the treasurer to create the account Title IIA Rising Educator Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
Is this one of these grants that you told us about earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's a new grant that we have just received that we are actually going to start targeting our students to consider education as their profession. And so it gives opportunity for them to take classes. Miami University is going to partner with us.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're hoping that in 4 years after they graduate, they'll come back to Mount Healthy and teach. So this was a grant that we applied for and received.
Is this, like, would they get college credits for this?
They will.
Okay, okay, good.
Nice.
So your son, this is the 7th grade, is that
It'll start primarily in 10th grade.
10th? Okay.
Yes, and we've applied for some additional grants that could go into middle school. We should know in, I would say by August if we've received that, and if we do, that would be a substantial grant of $750,000. So we should know soon. And Miami partnered with us on that grant as well.
Do they help you write it? Is that, or do you all just write?
We mainly write it, but what they agreed to do is come, and we're going to be working on an evening school. And so they're going to come and actually require their student teachers to come to Mount Healthy and work on hours related to teaching. And they have a reading program, so they're going to run a reading lab. So that will give opportunity for their students to take classes during the day and then come to our evening school after that. And so that's a great partnership. And then in addition, they will be offering some college classes that won't only benefit our students, but we have some paraprofessionals that have associate degrees that would love to go into education. So they're going to offer some classes so they could actually complete a teaching degree as well.
So we're going to open this up to the community?
Well, it would start with our students and
Okay.
our paraprofessionals. So if there was a lot of interest, we could actually have college classes here at district office. We're working on a classroom, a parent engagement classroom next to the food pantry. And so if our community was very interested in that, we could definitely have classes for our community members here. We wouldn't want them to be with the students at the high school just because of safety. We would have to do background checks and all of that, but that could be an extension
Okay.
of that.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
And that is all I have for you. Thank you,
Thank
by the
you.
way, for that last one.
Turning it over to Dr. Hawkins for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Turner. Item A is just an informational item. This goes over some of the change orders that have happened in the last month. One thing that Charlie mentioned, we are still under that 5% that was allotted, and they're working on that number, and as soon as they get that firm number, I'll send that out to you. So I did want to point that out, that we have not exceeded what was budgeted for that. In addition, South Elementary received a donation of shirts, water bottles, bracelets for the Special Olympics mini field day that was held on May 21st. And that came from Hamilton County Special Olympics of Ohio, and we appreciate that donation. We also received a large donation from Cleats for Kids, and there's an attachment of all of the items that were received. It really was significant. We are trying to start an elementary program that would have athletics for our students, and because many of our students cannot afford the gear, this organization gave us a lot of items, and so they have been, organized and separated so they'll be easy to access for our students. So we're very appreciative of this donation. Item B is the recommendation to file a Consolidated Continuous Improvement Plan, CCIP, funding application for the fiscal year 2021. The filing of the Local Education Agency, or LEA, Mount Healthy City School District, to submit one application for the Title I Part A, Improving Basic Programs, Title IIA, Supporting Effective Instruction, Title III, Language Instruction for English Learners, Title III, Immigrant, Title IV, Student Support and Academic Enrichment, IDEA-B, Special Education, IDEA-B, ECSC, Early Childhood Special Education, and expanding opportunities for each child grant in lieu of a separate application for each program. And this is a routine thing that school districts would do each year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Can we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item C is recommendation to adopt a resolution of participation in the following programs for FY 2022. Title I, Part A, Title I, School Quality Improvement, Title IIA, Title III, Language Instruction for English Learners, Title III, Immigrant, Title IV, Special Education, Part B, ESC, Early Childhood Special Education, High Schools that Work, Comprehensive Literacy State Development, Expanding Opportunities for Each Child, ESSER, and ARP ESSER.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I got a question. What is
Yes.
the immigrant thing?
That's funding that we receive based on the number of students in our district that are classified as immigrants. And Cincinnati actually is one of the major destinations for immigrant families. We have a large population of immigrants from Nepal in Mount Healthy's district. So there's extra funding that we receive to help with language acquisition primarily.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, language.
Any further discussion or questions? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing in lieu of transportation pay for the 2020-21 school year for the following student. And this is a very routine when students we don't transport.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is recommendation to approve the Mount Healthy Junior Senior High School Program Planning Guide for the 2021-2022 school year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
Yeah, can I get a copy of this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't
It-
need one right now.
It came out with the materials.
But we can get you one.
Okay.
You mean on the computer then?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I could say, I don't remember getting a hard copy.
No,
Yeah,
it was with the agenda and
Yeah.
last month's minutes and stuff.
We'll get each of you a hard copy. Sometimes it's easier to look at that way.
Any additional discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item F, recommendation to approve the renewal of the Ohio School Plan, OSP, insurance policy. This policy covers district-wide insurance for cyber property, violence, auto, liability, and pollution. It'll be effective July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022.
Do I have a motion? Okay.
So moved.
Actually, Kim beat you to it very
That's
quietly.
good.
That-
Moved by Ms. Bryant, seconded by Mr. Kilgore. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item G, recommendation to approve Hamilton County Educational Service Center Service Agreement for the 2021-2022 school year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
Yes, so what kind of service we're going to be getting from Hamilton County?
Many of the things are the same as what we had last year. They provide a lot of our speech and occupational therapy that we have special education students that require that. So that is one of the big items on there, as well as we are working with them to have an ODE nurse. By law, we have to have a nurse that has a certification for Ohio Department of Education. We did post that, but we didn't get any applicants, so
Okay.
we are partnering with them on that, as well as there are some countywide funds. They provide some professional development and things like that from Hamilton
So
County.
do we reach out to them if we need substitutes?
We do reach out to Hamilton County. That's a different pool, but they are our provider.
What, is that part of this?
That's not part of this.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item H is the recommendation to enter into a service agreement with Hamilton County Educational Service Center for an ELA coaching service for the 21-22 school year. The cost is $115,800 for 170 days. This is paid through a grant, so this does not come out of district funding.
Have a motion?
So move, I'm all for free.
Yeah.
Anything is free. it's free.
Yes.
Sec.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant and Ms. Ellis, but we'll go with Ms. Bryant. I heard her slightly sooner. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item I is the recommendation to approve the annual contract for services with HCC for the 2021-2022 school year. They provide a lot of our computer access. They, Checkpoint and different programs that are related to technology.
Where are the people downstairs?
They were downstairs. They're now located in Loveland.
Do I have a
So we
motion?
don't have anybody on site?
Could we do the motion and
Oh,
the
I'm
second
sorry.
first, and then we'll do the discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second, moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Okay, discussion.
All right, so do we have any people on site?
We do. They used to actually be housed here. They bought a building in Loveland, so their organization is there, but we have 4 techs that are on site all the time.
That's over in the bus garage?
They were in the bus garage last year. Next year, they're going to be in the buildings.
Okay.
So there's going to be someone assigned to each of our buildings so that they're working just on a more daily basis
Okay.
with our staff.
Good. Any additional discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item J is the recommendation to approve Holmes Blacktop and Concrete for asphalt repairs to all district parking lots. The cost is $65,470.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
So the only thing they're gonna do is like just patch holes around the area, or they're gonna surface anything?
They are going to surface some areas, and then there's a lot of cracks. They'll fill in cracks. There are holes. They're also removing some barriers that were laid improperly at the high school. I'm not sure if you know, like where you come around, there's like,
Speed bumps, is that what you're talking about?
there's going to be the addition of speed bumps as
Okay.
well in certain areas. But in the middle of the parking lot, there are these concrete barriers. There's like 6 of them that were just kind of put, and that's actually against code. So we're going to change that out to speed bumps to bring it up to what it should be.
And one other question, but I would probably already know the answer. Did these go out on bid?
Yes, through tips.
Through, yes.
John Beckmeyer, there's a process that you can go through that we're a part of where we get the lowest cost, and it's bid at the state level. So we're able to put through that, and it's already bid out through there.
Any further discussion?
I saw them out today.
Oh, yeah? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item K is the recommendation to adopt the proposed school calendar for the 2022-2023 school year. And we just are trying to get a couple years approved at a time. That way, if we have teachers who are planning weddings or other events, they know what our school year will be mapped out.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item L is the recommendation to change the name of the security supervisor salary schedule just to supervisor salary schedule.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion?
Is there gonna be a change in salary for this?
There's no change in the salary, just
Just
the
the title.
name. Because we have other people who are in roles of supervisor, and instead of making a schedule for every supervisor, just having the one schedule that was already board adopted.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item M is the consent agenda. This time of year, we have a lot of people hired, a lot of people leaving for retirement, and a variety of different things. One thing I did want to point out, the elementary sports is in this section. This is where we're trying to start some elementary opportunities in grades 4 through 6, and we will be competing against other schools such as Cincinnati Public to give our students an advantage of starting a little bit earlier to help them be more competitive.
Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as provided here? It's a long one, too.
It is long. This time of year is always long.
Make sure ain't no relatives on here. Oh, gosh. Now, you know I was being facetious, because I ain't got no relatives, really. Oh, I'll say so move.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
And that is all for me. Thank you.
Item 11, special orders. We don't have any. Item 12, open discussion by the Board of Education. So we have one item on there, but first I'll ask if anybody has any other item, or well, we'll do that one first. 12A is discussion concerning adding Juneteenth to the school calendar as a holiday. So this would obviously be when school is out, but it would be a holiday for administrators and staff, I believe, yes. So feel free to discuss. How does everyone feel about doing that?
Don't bother me. If everybody else is gonna have it, and I'm sure there are other holidays that some people don't get because they're not working at that time.
But you're saying this is when school's out, right? So,
Yeah, it's June 19th.
so how do we add that on too?
On the district, people who are on a 260 calendar or our administrators, secretarial staff, they have different calendars other than the teachers. So this would be reflected as a federal holiday on their calendars, not the teachers' calendars. But if the board decided to recognize this holiday, it would be a day off for people that would work on June 19th in recognition of the holiday.
So would they have a contract, would this be in addition to the other holidays and days off that they get? We wouldn't be swapping out or anything like that?
We would not. This would be adding a holiday for those that work at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine with me.
I just have a concern, you know, the teachers are, in my opinion only, you know, during the holidays, the teachers aren't here to get that extra benefit, I'm gonna call it. So is there some way we can give them a day off during the school year?
Normally for things like the 4th of July, the teachers don't get that holiday because they don't work in the summer.
Okay.
So teachers have several days that, like for instance, the district has been very generous to give 4 personal days, as well as several professional development days that teachers have, as well as the holidays that fall between August and the end of May. So this would be something just very similar to the 4th of July.
Yeah, because I'd like to
So-
see the teachers,
Okay.
you know, get something. I mean, that's up to the other
That's
board members.
up to
but-
the
No.
board. So whatever
You
you guys
don't
want to
do
do, I'm
anything for the
happy.
4th of July, so, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not sure I see the need. Juneteenth falls in June. I mean, that's just when it is.
no, we don't compensate them for the 4th.
Not for the 4th. You know, like for instance, Christmas, any holiday that falls between August and the end of May
May.
that the board recognizes as one of the holidays, we do. But we have not given the teachers anything for the 4th of July because it's outside of their work days. But, you know, I'll support whatever the board wants to do on this.
Well, I guess somebody has to propose it, right? So I'm gonna propose that teachers get a day off and recognize of the, what's it called, Juneteenth, at some point during the school year.
Now we have to keep in mind that calendars have already been approved.
We would have to make the adjustment or approve, for instance, a floating holiday for the teachers, something like that. I do know of some districts that have done that, have a floating holiday, and then the teacher could put that into ASOP, and they would just pick that similar to a personal day, but it would be called floating holiday, and that could represent that day.
I think we're just recognizing holidays for the staff that are actually here at that time,
You know,
and the teachers are not here.
Well, yeah, but, you know, I think, because it's recognizing a group of people, I think the first day was in Texas somewhere, and they started this many years ago. To not see our teachers benefit from this holiday.
well, I agree with Mrs. Ellis. If it falls during the summer break and teachers aren't here during the summer break, then I don't, I mean, a different way to look at it would be if we're giving an additional holiday, we're paying people for a day off. It's one thing to do that for the staff, but when you start adding in all the teachers for that too, it's sort of a cost to the district. I think the summer holidays are summer holidays. I don't necessarily see the need to, we would have to redo the calendars, we would have to, it would be a lot of rearranging of things. It's just my opinion.
To give this day to the administrators and other staff that are here to celebrate this day any way that they choose with their family or whatnot, I think is something we should do. But if you're not working, you still have the freedom to do that at home with your family and friends and whatnot.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like, it's like, next school year I'll be teaching on Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm not gonna get anything for Thanksgiving because that's a Thursday and I don't work on Thursdays, and that's just the way it is, you know, so. I'm all for giving it to the people who are actually working on June 19th. I don't see any particular need to extend it to the employees who are just the school year employees. Do we need to actually vote on this? What do we?
No, it was just a discussion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Today's just a discussion. We could put it on next month's or any month before
Okay,
the holiday next year.
okay, and people can think about it,
Yeah, when all 5 of us are here.
yeah. Any other open discussion? Nope.
There is
Okay.
one other item. This is the last meeting under the guidelines that were set forth with the pandemic. So the board would need to decide for next meeting if you want to continue to live stream or if you want to record it like the board did in the past and then air it after the board meeting.
Yeah, because as of July the 1st, everybody's
Right.
supposed to be back in the
Yeah,
boardroom.
I'd say we go back to how it used to be.
Okay. Thank you.
All the people in attendance.
And then, so it would be open to the public, which we are now, but instead of live streaming it, it would be recorded and then posted the next day.
Yeah, or
Was
sometimes,
it
Or
in-
sometimes 2 days.
sometime
yes.
after.
What, was it any cost to live streaming it?
No.
No,
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to people looking at it at the same time it's happening.
is there,
Unless there's a problem with it.
does it complicate anything from the technological standpoint?
I do not believe so. It's just
Okay.
telling them that we want to stream it at the time.
Okay, well, then we could do it that way.
Well, I mean, whether they get it later or they get it at the same time, the same thing's gonna be there and the same thing's gonna be said.
Right. The only time that it's a little different is with executive sessions. If we have an exec session and it's live, you know, there's a gap where if it's pre-recorded, that can move, you know, it just would be a few seconds.
I'm fine with going back to how it used to be, but I don't.
No, I just asked, was there a problem with live streaming it?
I don't believe so. I think it's just whatever the preference is.
But I think that point, though, the executive sessions does make it awkward on the live stream.
Well, what's the difference if the people did sit up here and wait till we came back from executive
Well, it's
session?
not, but if you're watching it on your computer at home, you can fast forward
I
through the
can run to
break.
the bathroom, I can go in the kitchen and get a drink.
But
of
you have to
water.
pay attention to when they're back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't know that, the live streaming was a problem. It was something extra we had to do to make it live stream. Don't make me no different. I don't care. Whatever, if you want to go back to the original, that's fine with me.
I think for people watching it from home, having the, I guess they would still be able to do it on the recording, though. Emmett, Kim, what do you think?
Well, I think we, like you say, we record it, and people can watch it when they have time at home. Live streaming, like you say, people want to run to the phone and try to call us or whatever. Say, hey, I got to quit. Well, you can't do that. So you might as well just go do it live.
I go whatever the majority want to do. I was just asking.
Okay, well, I'm not quite clear on what the majority wants to
I
do.
guess pre-record,
Just recording?
recording, yeah.
You mean go back to the way we were
Yes,
doing it?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
I think
I
that
can
sounds.
live with that.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Any other open discussion? Okay, item 13, Board of Education report. We have a motion to adopt a delegate and an alternate to the delegate for the
You can say
the
it.
Assembly of the Ohio School Boards Association's Capital Conference in Columbus, Ohio, Sunday, November 7th, 2021 through Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. Do we have someone who is just dying to be a delegate, Mrs. Ellis?
Oh, I don't mind being a delegate.
Anyone dying to be an alternate?
Well, you can be assured I'll be there unless something happens.
Yeah. I don't know, Mr. Glenn isn't here. I think that allows us to sign him up for it.
Yes, I agree.
You can put me down, put me down as the alternate, and you better be there, 'cause
Oh, I'm not, yeah, I'll be here.
okay. Do we have a motion to accept Mrs. Ellis as the delegate and me as the alternate?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Ms. Bryant. Any further discussion? You can still jump in there and do it. Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Date of the next Board of Education meeting is July 19th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You got it from me.
And I'll second it.
Seconds all over the place. We'll say moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
Nope.
Could we have a vote, please? Well, all in favor is how we usually do it, right?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes are all around.
6, 7, 12.
Have a
Seven.
good evening, everyone.
7:10 or 7.